welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Dylan TOUSSAINT. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you're overseas and on the move, U.S. listeners can access us at 712-832-8001. And if you're in the UK, 0330-332-6541. Or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube Live. In the first watch today, cops and the corruption, perception or reality? In the second watch, evaluating the proposed $10,000 grant for many of the elderly who get vaccinated. For our social media question, we ask, what special incentives, if any, should be given to the elderly who take the COVID vaccine? Please share your responses on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM, and also on WhatsApp, 876-997-3125, using the hashtag, The Morning Watch. We'll share your responses later on in the program, but before all of that, here's I Quote.
This morning's I Quote. The most difficult thing is the decision to act. The rest is merely tenacity. Amelia Earhart.
So true. So true. Good morning, Siobhan.
Good morning, Ref. How are you?
I am doing well, and you?
Good, thank you.
Listen, I remember hearing you singing on the air with Nadine 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good. Last week, too.
Is it a weekly event?
It is.
What day? What day of the week?
Thursday. On a Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
your thoughts? You think I can sing? Let me move on with the program. The main watch will be back after this break.
Oh,
I thought you were my friend.
I am. That's why I'm moving on.
You are the buzz, 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 buzz. You are the zing, 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 zing. You are the You are the click, click, click. You are the pop, pop, pop. You are the I in Jamaica. So keep fizzing for the love of it. Pepsi.
Fellowship Friday.
We told you it was going to be something to write home about. Youths, young people, youth fellowships. We told you you would get a whole evening for yourself. And guess what? We delivered. Oh, yes. The secret agent delivers this and every Friday night in fine style. Siobhan Blair is in the house every Friday inside Fellowship Fridays from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. on Love 101. Listen out for Fellowship Fridays game show night. The outline with that interesting interview. Youth fellowships near and far. You never can tell when Siobhan will be stopping by. And the walk, that devotional with the extra touch. Oh, and so much more is right here inside Fellowship Fridays. This and every Friday with Siobhan Blair, the secret agent, 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. right here on the family station, Love 101.
Shake and go with true shake. Shake and go. Grab a true shake and go. When me have to put in the work, but I'm moving slow. Grab a true shake and go. School time and not joke time. Have to study hard, brain full time. Grab a true shake and go. When we up in the gym, we have to stay healthy and fit. Grab a true shake and go. Shake and go with true shake. Packed with 9 grams of protein, 24 key vitamins and minerals to keep you going. Grab a true shake and go.
Easter times are coming and the buns are being baked. So many buns to choose from, but only one to take home. HTV is the one that's got that baked in quality. Full of fruits and raisins, soft and sweet as a bun can be. So when you're buying Easter buns, look out for HTV. That's the one that's got the taste that's guaranteed to please. HTV. Bun.
How do you feel about the COVID 19 vaccine? Will you be taking it or not? Join us for the Love 101 virtual town hall meeting. We'll be talking about the COVID 19 vaccine Tuesday, March 30, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Now, for 2020, Jamaica was ranked 69th out of 180 countries on the Corruption Perceptions Index, and we remain the fifth most corrupt state in the Caribbean, according to that index. Now, in the 2019 Jamaica National Crime Victimization Survey, 65.2% of Jamaicans who are age 16 and older felt that of all the entities, the JCF was the most corrupt. But are our cops really corrupt? Is it a reality, or is it simply a matter of perception? Well, to discuss these and other related questions, we have online Corporal Rowan James, Chair of the Jamaica Police Federation, and Mr. Dickie Crawford, social commentator. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Good morning to you.
Morning to you.
Good to have you both with us. Yes, good to have you both with us this morning. Let me begin with you, Mr. Crawford. What is your understanding, sir, of the Jamaica National Crime Victimization Survey? How seriously should we take these surveys, really?
Well, you have to take it seriously. I think you gave me one statistic. What is it you said? 55% of the people polled say that the police is corrupt, right?
Yeah, 56.2, I believe.
Is this the younger cohort in the society?
Pardon me?
Was this a younger cohort?
Yeah, let me just tell you, 65.2% who are age 16 and older felt that way.
Okay. All right, well, 16 and older, so maybe there are a lot of young people there. Without a doubt, let me make my opening statement.
Mm-hmm.
There are two types of police out there. I've had the good luck, if you want to put it that way, or the fortune of knowing many of them, and I have had many classes with police officers who came to my classes, and they are upright citizens, and in fact, some of them are opposed, obviously, and ashamed at how the police are being regarded and treated. So that's one. So not every police officer is corrupt, for sure. But you can't escape from the reality of the society. But I also want to say that the police may very well be, I don't know who's the most corrupt out of everybody, but I know the police are not the only corrupt people in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You have them in business. The police has a particular history. It is a creature of Jamaica's history. At first, the police were formed, as you will remember, to sort of fight down the slaves who were rebelling, 1865. And from that time, there's always been this slant against against the people from the police. And then later on, as we came down the line, frankly, and party politics took over in 1962, independence, then party politics, police were involved in that. And the truth is this, really, that in the 1976-1980 Civil War in Jamaica, that helped change Jamaica. There's no denying that. And today, you have groups out there. You have the politicians, you have the private sector, you have the police, and you also have unions, but they are not very vocal these days. So it's not I want us to understand that. You can't just blame or say that since the police are so corrupt, that is where the problem in the society is. Jamaica is a corrupt society from Negril to Moran Point. There's no denying that at all. That is what don't need to any argument or denial. The police, of course, where they are placed, they become fixed figures that are easily recognized, and of course they get themselves involved in what's happening. The problem is that we've gotten to a point now where it's past the stage of critical. If you watch the new crime escapade, I mean, I never believed I could live in a country where in the middle of the morning, gunmen were going to St. Elizabeth and shoot a security guard, point blank, right up in his chest, etc., etc. And people going to a church at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and kill people. Jamaica is rotting away. It is a corrupt country. And I don't want anybody to think that you can say that the police alone is corrupt and we get away with it. That is just absolutely the case as far as I see it. The whole country needs restructuring. No denying that. As you know, we tend to be a sort of carbon copy or a little cousin of the United States of America. And, you know, last night I was watching this situation where a gentleman, or I don't know if it's a gentleman, but a shooter went up into
Colorado
once again and shot 60 people. No, 10 people were killed.
Killed, yes.
Right, up in
Colorado.
Colorado, right, which has known itself to have those kinds of outbreaks in shooting. Something is radically wrong, you know, in the valley.
It's not just Jamaica, it's the world, eh?
Yeah, but you see, we pick up a lot of the bad luck and a lot of the bad examples from the United States of America. Yes, and it's in the world. It's elsewhere too.
Let me bring in Corporal James. Corporal James, the police force as corrupt as many people in Jamaica seem to think?
Whilst it is that I don't and would never deny that corruption doesn't exist within the organization, I can categorically state on record that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is one of the most police government apparatus in this country, which has significant oversight from various bodies. And I would want to also point you to the Indicom's last report and what it is that its report would have indicated in terms of police corruption and as against the perception. The reality of it is less than 2% of the force itself gets itself into corrupt practices. And I can say for sure that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is one of those arms that are not afraid to ensure that they enforce the law when it comes on to members running afoul of whatever breaches of the Corruption Prevention Act there is. I can recall a number of occasions that whilst it is that persons would not want to come forward and readily offer information, that the robustness of the then anti-corruption branch, now iProbe, and subsequently MOCA, that there are avenues that persons are willing to come forward to assist with investigation and report corrupt practices. And I believe that if it is that we are doing a poor job, it is that we are not communicating these efforts clearly to the public and to engage them so that they themselves can recognize the professionalism that is supposed to be at the hallmark of which we should be judged, and that the
Corporal James?
Yes.
Yes, Corporal, I'm so sorry. We're going to take a break and be right back.
You're listening to Love 101, the family station. It's now 7:15.
Hello, today we're going to be making breakfast and preparing a lunchbox for school. Let's start with some sugar and salt and wash it down with a nice big glass of more sugar. And now for the lunchbox. Let's put in saturated fat, more salt, and sugar. Foods high in salt, fats, and sugar increase the risk of hypertension, obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Now more than ever, we have the right to know what's in our food. Give us warning labels on the front of our food packages.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, Ministry of Health and Wellness, and partners.
La 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 la!
It's your one and only fluffy diva, Miss Kitty, aka the Lala Boss, with loads of gifts for you from Digicel. Activate a new 7-day Digicel Prime Barata bundle and get everything you want and more for only $675. Enjoy unlimited YouTube, social media, and local calls. You also get 49 gigabytes for more sports, music, and movies on Digi apps, and 2 gigabytes of any used data. This sound like enough niceness for we.
Get it all when you activate the new 7-day Digicel Prime Barata bundle in the My Digicel app. Limited time offer.
You are the buzz, 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 buzz. You are the zing, 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 zing. You are the you are the click, 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 click. You are the pop, pop, pop. You are the I in Jamaica. So keep fizzing for the love of it. Pepsi.
Hey boy, you think it a go so? Watch me and you.
Do not repay evil with evil or insult with insult. On the contrary, repay evil with blessing. 1 Peter 3 and verse 9. Let's work together to make Jamaica a gentler, kinder society. A message from the Church of the Open Bible, 12 Washington Boulevard. Join in our worship service Sundays at 8 a.m. right here on Love 101.
49 years later and still going strong. Under the Law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. The program comes to you on Love 101 FM on Thursdays through the kind sponsorship of the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy. Under the Law, Thursdays at 6:20 a.m., 2:55, 6:45, and 9:10 p.m. on Love 101 FM.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan TOUSSAINT, and we are discussing the matter of cops and corruption, perception or reality. And we have online Mr. Richard Dickey Crawford, social commentator, Corporal Rowan James, chair of the Jamaica Police Federation. Corporal James, you were making some points before the break. Please continue, sir.
Yeah. And again, based on what it is that the public's opinion and the manner in which they form their opinion, sometimes it is not based on fact or empirical. It is based on influence from friends, families, and social media. And consequently, that narrative, if it is that leading from the example that we are expecting from the House of Representatives to civil society, that these narratives are placed in proper context and that persons are made to understand that the laws were not made to come down to the mankind's level, but mankind was made to conform with the laws that the parliamentarians and the legislators envisage that would shape the country's civil narrative going forward, that we would therefore be conforming with the aspect of how we communicate, how we demonstrate respect for each other, how we exercise due diligence in society, and what it is that a safe society would encompass. And also, it is important for us to note that if we have that level of respect, we must also remember that respect is a one-way street. Remembering that first, we identify respect with a human being, and that a human being is a life, and the life matters. I don't want people to have the misconception that respect is a two-way street. No, you must first have regard that respect is that you identify and associate the individual as being a human being in the first instance, and that you must demonstrate that regard for the life and as such society. If we take it in that context, most of what it is that people seek to impose upon others as their value, as their position, with misconception of figures and presumption and assumption. It is that they should by now recognize that police officers are from society, and the society itself is entrenched in corruption, and we will never escape the fact that we will have persons within the organization that will find themselves on the wrong side of the law. But
why
how
is
it is that we will deal with it?
Why is it, Corporal, that the JCF has been consistently perceived as the most corrupt for many years in the nation?
Because persons see law enforcement not as law enforcement, but is a state against them, because we are actually enforcing what the legislators intended in terms of the law. And consequently, we know that Jamaica is a lawless country. We see the trajectory, but we also see where civil society has turned a blind eye to what the state of our country is currently. And we are not getting that level of support, forthrightness. We have seen in every instance that diplomatic hypocrisy playing out in our society.
Some people do, Corporal. I'm sorry. Some people argue that the JDF is also law enforcement, but they do not. That perception is not out there in terms of the JDF. Why the JCF?
Because can I say this to you?
Yes.
I want for Jamaica to point their fingers to any other arm of the state that is more out there interfacing with the public than the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
Right.
And anytime that empirical can come forward, show me on a day-to-day basis, not even the hospital, which has nurses and doctors, interfaces with the public as much as the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And that is why the skewed narrative can be out there in terms of what it is that currently obtains, rather than persons looking on and saying, what are my responsibilities? Am I demonstrating the highest level of professionalism? Have I been able to sufficiently articulate and to treat with situations brought to my attention? Am I being properly equipped and resourced to treat with your situation that will afford you not to have that negative thought going away with?
Okay.
And fundamentally, if you look at what it is that currently obtains, there are systematic issues that need to be addressed by our employer.
That's where I want us to go now. Mr. Crawford, solutions, Mr. Crawford. How do we solve this? Solutions, yes.
Well, in a way, first of all, I think that is it Corporal James? He's trying his best, but you have to be realistic. You can't talk about a country where 400 people been murdered in the first 3 months of this year. I mean, this is madness. Absolute madness. This is not
in a COVID crisis.
It's a COVID crisis?
Yes.
No, it's not.
That's what I'm saying.
It's crisis.
Mr. Crawford.
Okay, so what we're arguing here is that a case is being built that the police are out there with the people. Yes, there's no denying that, etc., etc. The police are also out there getting questionable ratings from sections of the society. So it's not an easy street that is going on down there, that people are going to jump up and support the police. Another thing that should be good for us to understand, I keep hearing this thing about the people are not telling the police and giving them the information. Who in their right mind is going to give information to the police of a killer or a robber, and then they realize by the time they get home they're going to be killed? This has happened over and over again. The country has no more confidence.
So what we're going to then? What we're going to do, Mr. Crawford? Roll over and die? What we're going to do?
Well, if you want to do that, no, I don't. I'm saying the country has to be restructured. This country cannot work the way it is. It cannot work. We still keep fooling ourselves. You cannot buy a few more police cars here. You can't put up a bridge here and a road there and expect that the people, 40% of them live in poverty. And the most serious set of criminals in this country just walk in and out of Jamaica and do whatever they want. People know these things. They see these things. There's no face out there. There's no goal out there. I mean, look at the corruption. Look at the waste of money in the government. You have ever heard of the assessments being done, how this company is run, how that company is run? We're talking about billions and billions of dollars going down the drain in Jamaica. It cannot continue like this. So, I heard Corporal James say, this time his employer does something. Well, I'm telling you, that is an understatement in that case, without a doubt. Look here, let's make up our mind. Is either Jamaica going to continue to be a politically divided and culturally divided, rich and poor country, and you migrate if you have to migrate, or we're going to develop and build a serious country, and who is in the way and who is guilty pay the price and who is not goes through. I was just thinking about this, talking this morning. I said, I've been to Singapore. You go to Hong Kong. You can even think of other places. They were never countries that were so illustrious. They were poor people too. But what did those countries do? They restructured their countries from colonial rule, and look at them today. Jamaica is no really much different. Structure is no different from in colonial days, and attitudinally it is getting worse by the minute. So if we don't understand that and understand we have a major crisis in this country, and when every time the PSOJ meet with the church and the police, or let's just have a little round robin meeting and discuss it. Rubbish. They talk for 2 days and then they disappear again, and the crime rate goes up back again.
Thank you, sir. Corporal James, solutions. How do we solve this problem and this perception that is out there?
One, the government has to take a holistic approach to national security. It cannot be a piecemeal approach. 2 vehicles there, you fix 2 buildings there, you fix the issue of 2 car, the technology aspect of it is void, or you buy 2 cameras, but 6 is outstanding. You have to start respecting the budget that is presented to you so that the commissioner can have an unfettered approach to treating with the issue of managing crime. We're talking about fighting crime. We can't fight crime. We can only manage crime. And it is time we change the narrative, the perception, and live in the reality. Let us start to take the approach whereas we put the investment in and seek to change people's mindset and to seek to create a greater avenue of opportunities for persons to underscore the importance that crime is not a way of life. It's just another means. But there is an alternative approach to them finding themselves in a position where they can make a sustainable, meaningful living out of something that they can employ themselves, or they can sustain themselves, or it is that they can be gainfully employed. It is that we cannot continue as a society to see several of our youngsters not having the opportunity of a skill. Yes, you might be academically inclined, but yet still to drive a machine, or operate a machine, you are nowhere near there. It is time for our schools to start to becoming more technically inclined, knowing that globally the world is changing. We cannot continue on the antiquated, brainwashed sort of educational system that we have in place now and say that we are transforming society. It is time for us to be radical.
Thank you, Corporal and Mr. Crawford. We have to leave it there. We are out of time. Thanks for joining us this morning. Have a productive day and stay safe, gentlemen, please.
You are most welcome.
Thank you, listeners. The Morning Watch will return in just a moment.
You're tuned to Love 101 FM. The family station is now 7:30. Have some issues and concerns in your community that you wish could be attended to now? Want a platform to voice those concerns? This could be the place for you. Send your 30-second voice notes describing your issue to 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Be sure to type a voice for hope before sending the voice note. Then listen on Tuesday at 9:45 a.m. for a voice for hope. Share the concerns you have seen. You know that street light that has not been working for a long time, or your community has not had water for 2 weeks now? Yes, here's somewhere you can share it. And maybe, just maybe, we can get some love on your situation. Remember now, send a 30-second voice note describing your issue and type a voice for hope before sending your voice note to 876-997-3125. A voice for hope. It's a problem, and we need a solution now. Love 101 FM, the family station, bringing a voice to your situation.
The top 10 schools are in! BIP is almost ready to give away $1 million to one lucky school, but we still need your help. Download the BIP app and subscribe to the BIP to Win for your school channel to see our top 10 schools. Then click on the video of your favorite school to cast your vote. Get your schoolmates and friends involved too. The more votes, the better your favorite school's chance of winning $1 million. Download the BIP app today. BIP, simply more messaging.
How many years we had this and never yet feel you? You me bun gonna lead. Look at this bun one time, you gon' come back for more. Trust me, that bun is sweet. So you say yummy, you say bun, everybody wants some. Yummy bun, me say that the best, yes. Yummy, you say bun, everybody wants some. Yummy bun, everybody wants some.
When it comes to Easter bun, Yummy Bun has been the number one choice for years. Undoubtedly the best in value and taste. Bite
Yummy
after
bun,
bite.
everybody wants some.
Colgate Triple Action. 3 benefits for a deep clean. As a mother, you always want to give the best to your family and to make them happy. With Colgate Triple Action, you give them 3 reasons to smile. Cavity protection, whiter teeth, and fresh breath. A unique formula with a minty flavor they will love. Colgate Triple Action. Find it at your favorite store.
For all your insurance needs, visit Spectrum Insurance Brokers Limited. We offer motor vehicle insurance, group life and health insurance, individual and group life pension. We also insure against fire, burglary, personal accidents, and so much more. Visit one of our offices today in Kingston or Mandeville. Call us at 876-926-3572. That's 876-926-3572. Spectrum Insurance Brokers Limited, setting the industry standards.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan Toussaint. Let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing. In the Gleaner, COVID window of hope. Dad clinging to life in ICU, inspired by his kids, waving every day. And then vaccine hotline rings off the hook on day 1. We also see in the Gleaner, even with shield of faith, Christian warns all to wear masks. In the Observer, ticket people who flout COVID measures, says an attorney. Then we see that there is a 500,000 COVID fine. The House should debate the bill today. And then finally, we see here that 7 Jamaicans among 14 held by U.S. Coast Guard in Florida. Those are some of the major headlines in our newspapers. Well, coming up next, we'll read some of the feedback from our Facebook and WhatsApp question. What special incentives, if any, should be given to the elderly who take the COVID vaccine? We're asking you to leave a comment on our Facebook page, Love 101 FM Jamaica, or WhatsApp 876-997-3125. We'll be right back.
Love 101 invites you to listen to The Rock as hosts Steve Blair and guest Michael Ackenoff Jones discuss the church and the law of the land. Whose law do you obey? If the scripture says this and the law of the land says that, which do you do? Have we been misinterpreting the Bible again? Or are we right on the penny? What does it mean to submit to earthly authority? Find out all this and more inside The Rock, Tuesday, March 23 at 10 a.m. on the family station, Love 101.
Here is a reminder from Love 101 FM, the family station, as we face the COVID-19 pandemic. To prevent COVID-19, it is safest to avoid physical contact when greeting. A wave, nod, or bow can suffice. Respiratory viruses can be transferred by handshaking. I am Shivani Blair from Love 101, reminding you to protect yourself while protecting others. Stay safe and keep it locked on Love 101, the family station.
How do you feel about the COVID-19 vaccine? Will you be taking it or not? Join us for the Love 101 virtual town hall meeting. We'll be talking about the COVID-19 vaccine, Tuesday, March 30, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Have some issues and concerns in your community that you wish could be attended to now? Want a platform to voice those concerns? This could be the place for you. Send your 30-second voice notes describing your issue to 876-997-3125. That's 876-997-3125. Be sure to type a voice for hope before sending the voice note. Then listen on Tuesday at 9:45 a.m. for a voice for hope. Share the concerns you have seen. You know that street light that has not been working for a long time, or your community has not had water for 2 weeks now? Yes, here is somewhere you can share it. And maybe, just maybe, we can get some love on your situation. Remember now, send a 30-second voice note describing your issue and type a voice for hope before sending your voice note to 876-997-3125. A voice for hope. It's a problem, and we need a solution now. Love 101 FM, the family station, bringing a voice to your situation.
Back, you're tuned in to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Dylan TOUSSAINT. Let's join Shivani for a look at how our Facebook and WhatsApp friends answered today's question. What special incentives, if any, should be given to the elderly who take the COVID vaccine? Shivani.
All right, seeing two comments here. This one says, a weekend at a 5-star hotel with pampering and so on, you know. This one says, every household family need a care package. Nothing under $10,000, will be able to help them at least for a week. So help those who are at home. All right. Well, I'm for the 5-star hotel.
Thank you, Shivani.
You're welcome.
Okay. We thank the listeners for the response. Well, is it a grant, a bribe, or both? The government is to roll out a conditional cash transfer for the vaccinated program and to benefit more than 100,000 Jamaicans 60 years and over. They will reportedly each receive a sum of $10,000 with conditions. And the proposal is to go back to Parliament this week. But in the meantime, joining us to discuss the matter, we have online Dr. Peter Ann Baker, Social Development Specialist, and Mrs. Jean Laurie Chin, Founder and Executive Chair of Caribbean Community of Retired Persons. Good morning, ladies.
Morning. Morning.
Morning to you both.
Well, we're still trying to connect with Jean.
Okay. We have only Dr. Baker on. Yes, welcome, Dr. Baker. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
What is your understanding of the proposed $10,000 grant in relation to the elderly.
When you say understanding, are you putting it in the context of your introduction of whether it's a grant or a bribe, or are you asking?
I'm leaving that up to you. How do you understand it? What does it mean?
I'd rather not use that language. It is something. I don't agree with it. First of all,
you don't agree with it.
Yes, I think, and I have, since it was announced, I have been expressing my disagreement with it because, and let me tell you why. When you develop social policy, especially we like to use the word vulnerable, but the international understanding are that persons 60 and over are among designated vulnerable groups. If you're doing research that involves persons 60 and over, it could be asking them what they had for breakfast. You still have to get approval from an ethics committee. Okay? Interventions with vulnerable persons require that. And I am looking at this as an ethical matter. Okay? I'm saying that, first of all, I don't know what is the basis that this has been announced in terms of older persons who may not want to take the vaccine, because I don't know that they have some indication that more older persons, a greater proportion of older persons than persons 40 to 55 are resistant to taking it. In fact, I saw an article just recently that Professor Denise Eldemeyer Shearer, who, among other things, is chairman of the Council for Senior Citizens, said that older people are impatiently awaiting being able to get the vaccine. And if the evidence of the last couple of days are anything to go by, then that is true. A group of older persons apparently went to their health center in St. Catherine, registered last week. They were told to come last Saturday. The inoculation program activity apparently was cancelled, and they were out there on Saturday morning, and they were very unhappy, very unhappy that they would not be able to be vaccinated.
Let me get you clear, Dr. Baker. If it is an incentive, you're saying there's no need for the incentive?
It's not an incentive, sir. It's not an incentive.
You don't see it as an incentive? Okay.
In my view, it is not an incentive. In fact, it is coercion.
It is coercion?
Yes, it's the complete opposite. It's forcing persons, and it's forcing the persons who are most in need of material assistance as well as protection from COVID-19 via the vaccine. And one of the reasons they're so seriously in need of the vaccine is because younger age groups have demonstrated very clearly that they have no consideration for anyone besides themselves. And so if they live in a household with younger persons, they are the ones in that household who are at greatest risk of getting, contracting COVID, and not just of contracting it, because lots of the younger people are asymptomatic. They don't have any symptoms, but they have the virus. And they can pass on the virus even though they themselves don't have anything. So I have an elderly uncle, seriously elderly, that is in his late 90s. And I'm registering to get the vaccine because the people around him, some of them are not going to be vaccinated.
Tell you what, Dr. Baker, we're onto a break. Hold that thought, we'll be right back.
The time by the Ministry of Health, Healthy People, Healthy Environment is
7:45.
Stay informed and keep up to date with all the happenings locally, regionally, and internationally. Follow My Jamaica Today on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Also check us out at JamaicaToday.com as we bring you all the information you need wherever you are, with fearless and factual reporting on politics, world news, business, entertainment, sports, and lifestyle. It's My Jamaica Today, Jamaica's first digital media house, only 3 clicks away.
Shake and go with true shake. Shake and go. Grab a true shake and go. When me have to put in the work, but I'm moving slow. Grab a true shake and go. School time and not joke time. Have to study hard, brain full time. Grab a true shake and go. When we up in the gym, we have to stay healthy and fit. Grab a true shake and go. Shake and go with true shake. Packed with 9 grams of protein, 24 key vitamins and minerals to keep you going. Grab a true shake and go.
You are the buzz, 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 buzz. You are the zing, 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 zing. You are the you are the click, 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 click. You are the pop, pop, pop. You are the I in Jamaica. So keep fizzing for the love of it. Pepsi.
The top 10 schools are in! BIP is almost ready to give away $1 million to one lucky school, but we still need your help. Download the BIP app and subscribe to the BIP to Win for your school channel to see our top 10 schools. Then click on the video of your favorite school to cast your vote. Get your schoolmates and friends involved too. The more votes, the better your favorite school's chance of winning $1 million. Download the BIP app today. BIP. Simply more messaging.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. Thanks for staying with us. I'm your host, Dylan TOUSSAINT, and we are evaluating the proposed $10,000 grant for many of the elderly who get vaccinated. And we have online Dr. Peter Ann Baker, Social Development Specialist, and we also have now joining us Mrs. Jean Laurie Chin, founder and executive chair of Caribbean Community of Retired Persons. Mrs. Laurie Chin, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning, Dr. TOUSSAINT. Good morning, Peter Ann.
Morning, Jean. Good to have you, Dr. Baker and Dr. Laurie Chin. Mrs. Laurie Chin, what is your take on the matter with the proposal?
Well, I do see the point that Dr. Peter Ann Baker mentioned, because this is a very vulnerable group and such decisions cannot be taken lightly. I can understand why Minister Clapton may have thought about making this kind of proposal. I mean, the health services under stress. Most of the persons who get critically ill are in that age group. But I have to say that they should use other means of assisting our elderly. And, yesterday I was at the Law Street Center with Sister Benedict. She usually has 500 elderly in the food line. She says now it's 700 elderly, and they are in great want. So I would say the government needs to set up some system in which they can distribute funds like this to these persons who are in great need and not attach it to an incentive. What I think they could do, if they would like to encourage more of those persons, because some of them have a problem with transportation, is to create a mobile unit that could go into the rural areas and assist them so that they don't have to be going and lining up and traveling long distances to a clinic. So I would hope that they would consider that, and also use that same mobile unit to assist them in getting certain medications. Like people are advised, to take Panadol after they get the vaccine because they may get a fever. Take some of those meds along to give to the elderly, because every cent counts for them now. Some of them are in dire straits. One more suggestion. We had done this last year, CCRP. We had partnered with the Food for the Poor to distribute care packages And the police community service branch was very helpful because they are out and about. They know where the needs are. And that is another way to get to our indigent elderly. I tell you, the expressions of thanks that we got from those folks, and when they shared some photographs of us, of them delivering the packages, and when you look at the conditions in which some of our elderly are living, it is heartbreaking.
So let me get it clear, Mrs. Lorichin. Are you in agreement with the proposal as is?
No. For the reasons that Peter Ann mentioned, I am not in agreement because I see too many angles to it. As a matter of fact, one of the greatest types of abuse that our elderly are suffering now is financial abuse. And who knows if that $10,000 will really get to them. I think
so the alternative is what?
Practical,
the alternative is what, Mrs. Lorichin?
Sorry?
I'm sorry, what's the alternative? What really would you want the government to do? Because if they're trying to encourage them to get vaccinated and at the same time giving them this money that they may need, what else should they do?
So I'm saying, get mobile. Number one, that's going to save our poor elderly a lot of money. They have a mobile unit that is going into their districts to give them the vaccine instead of them having to fork out taxi fare, and also to give them some medication, and to have a steady way of giving them care packages, food and sanitizing material. Those things are so important to them.
Okay, Dr. Baker?
Yes, I wanted to say, because I certainly agree with Dean. I support the recommendation she makes about the mobile unit and also about making, taking things like Panadol and so on along. You see, we keep, in terms of our programs and services for older persons, yes, we keep having this hodgepodge of things. We have those 700 people that Jean saw yesterday. Yes, $10,000 may benefit them in some way, but I think about where are these people living, and how much assistance do they have? There are, and in addition, there are many obstacles to accessing the financial, because the government wants everything to be online and whatever. Many of these people didn't get any help in the previous initiative last year because they didn't have a bank account. Okay, so the government shifted to making it also available through the payment agencies and so on. That still is problematic, and I want to follow up on the thing about many times if it is money to be collected and so on, the frail elderly persons who are not able to get around readily, because we have to understand within the classification that you call elderly, you have a wide range of people. The younger elderly up to about 75 are usually still very, very active. They are probably earning and trying to earn an income, etc., etc. 75 to mid-80s, perhaps some people begin to withdraw permanently from the labor force. But it doesn't. See, we've painted a picture of old age as being poverty and sickness. And that is such an untrue picture. I mean, the Gleaner had a headline about help for the dirt poor. And I'm saying, you're disrespecting me. I'm over 60. So, I mean, and this is one of the things I don't think we appreciate, the extent to which older people already feel that their dignity is disregarded. Those who have to use public transportation. So let us not add to what people feel. The government has announced a social pension, which is also directed at this particular group. I would say, okay, you had already budgeted for this amount. Add it to what you have for the social pension for a limited period. I can see they're going. The social pension is supposed to go on beyond whenever this emergency, comes to an end. So okay, so say we can't give you $8,000 a month forever. But for this period, which we know is extra hard, maybe the social pension is $5,000, and we're going to top it up with this money that we had for this so-called incentive. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me ask Mrs. Lorichin, though. Both of you seem to be on the same page in that regard. What about those who would argue that it's not a matter of either or, but both and that what you could have is this grant being given, as well as the other overtures and the other means that you have suggested
but then
for
the
elderly? Yes, Mrs. Lorichin.
Yes, Dr. Toussaint. But then, even if they do that, they would be. I think it would not be equitable.
Right.
I think it's a good idea to use those funds, and I know that Dr. Clark really was thinking of how can I, keep our hospitals manageable. Use those funds to put in that special pension plan that they have created now for persons who don't have a pension. And again, as I say, also use the funds. They can do more social, more public address methods. Like just yesterday, someone called me because they were desperately trying to get an elderly person to take the vaccine. And I said, and this could be a dialogue, I said, just tell this person that if they get COVID and they're in a hospital, you cannot go and see them. They would be isolated. Do they want that? It's not like first time if you're sick in a hospital, your church brother and your church sister come around your bed and sing hymns for you. They would not be allowed. And she used that line and she convinced the person. So maybe we need some dialogues like that in media to help to convince those elderly who are resisting the vaccine.
As we wrap up, Dr. Baker, what are some of the concerns, though, among the elderly now, even in terms of accessing the vaccine? Because we're hearing about phones ringing off the hook and all of that.
Because people want, you see, to me, the responsibility is on the side of the state, not Nigel Clark or Andrew Hollis. We have to use this. People have said COVID has opened many doors in addition to bringing, devastation. We can use this as an opportunity to organize our services for older persons. And it's not just older persons. Older persons who have worked their entire lives and have little to show for it. They are neglected, they are abused, and so on. We need to have a much better system. We have one parish coordinator out in each parish for the National Council. We need to put those systems into place and deliver services to people who are locked away, and to create opportunities for those persons to engage socially, not to be threatened into taking a vaccine. Why we must face to face explain to people at the community level, at the grassroots level, work with the pastors and so on in the churches. The pastors need to be much more forthright and also forthcoming. Let me put it that way.
Thank you, Dr. Baker. Thank you, Mrs. Lorichin. We're out of time. Have a productive day and stay safe.
Thank you. Stay safe as well.
Thank you. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. For information how to get copies of this program, call our production department at 876-968-959627. This has been The Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Miss Kathy Gale, and our guests. I'm Dylan Toussaint, reminding you to be purposeful, faithful, thankful, and watchful as I hand you back to Love in the Morning with Shavani Blair.
And the Morning Watch is brought to you by Educom Cooperative Credit Union, valued through service, integrity, innovation, and commitment.
Get the fiber and protein you need from the beans you love. Grace gives you better choices for a better life.
The time brought to you by Grace Kennedy is
8 o'clock, folks, and it's time for the program Forward in Faith, brought to you by the Portmore New Testament Church of God.
The Lord will return to this earth some sweet day.